Good morning. I'm so tired. I want to take the opportunity to read. I have not read much in these last couple of weeks. Good morning. I'm so tired. Hello. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lainey. Thank you for stopping by my little corner of the internet. It really means a lot. Today's a bit of a slow day for me. I have a good chunk of the morning just very peacefully. A good chunk of the morning to myself. And I want to take the opportunity to read. I have not read much in these last couple of weeks. And it's been a minute since I finished a full book. So I thought we're going to spend the time to read. So as I'm getting ready for the morning, I'm listening to the second book of the Divine Trader duology, which is called This Ends in Embers. I'm like 20-something% through so far of the second book. I'm really liking it. I did enjoy the first book more, but obviously like this book hasn't ended yet, so that might all change. But I do remember pretty early on within the first book I really liked it, and I'm not really feeling that like I like this book, but I just ended up liking the first book more, even like really early on with it. So there's that. But I wouldn't take the time to also physically read because I feel like I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks and then reading things on my e-reader, and I haven't sat down and like flipped a physical book in a couple of months now. So I want to sit and read something physically. So I think that's what we're also going to do today, and I'll at least try to do that for a good hour. But I'll also spend just my morning reading or listening to books just in general, so we'll have a little bit of more of a lengthier time of just like reading and settling in with books. So I think it's the vibes, that's the plan. We're gonna just do whatever comes up for the morning time in these next couple of hours, and I will check in every so often at where I'm at, where my head's at, what's going on. But I just finished brushing up, I'm listening to the book, I'm gonna go to drink my hot water for the day, and then maybe 30 minutes after that go eat something. So we're gonna continue listening to the audiobook for now, and then we'll switch it up soon. Hi. Okay, so quick update. I got to about 30% of This Ends in Embers. But let me kind of give you an idea of what the first book was even about, to then kind of slightly non-spoilerly way talk about the second book. So there's two sisters, Farron, who's the younger sister by a year, and then there's Alara, who's the older sister. And this place is like it's a fantasy world, or I guess like it has fantastical elements, but it takes place in the real world, or takes real world elements, because it's kind of like this Jamaican fantasy mixed world. And when it comes to languages and dialects, they like mention patois and all that stuff. So but it has like dragons in it, and the younger sister Farron, she's kind of like this like avatar, this like little like stand-in. She has like the powers from the god, she's like a saint. we don't see it, but it's referred to a lot that there was this war, and Farron at the like a young age was like this kind of like child hero, and now it's been a couple of years, and like something dark is brewing, and unfortunately it's mixed up. Her sister Alara is mixed up in it, and Farron is kind of like determined to do whatever she can to help her sister, even if it means like doing something bad and stuff like that. So the second book, she is, I don't want to say too much, but in the second book, she's kind of in a similar position that her sister was in the first book, in terms of like being I would be careful because I don't want to spoil it. But similar to the first book, something happened to her sister where it put like distance between them, like physically. She was not able to be with her sister, and now it's kind of like in this book, it's the opposite, or they're kind of swapped. Alara is like back home, but now it's Farron who's like greatly far away from her sister, and now there's kind of like this new villain, and a war that's brewing, and now we kind of have Alara who's in Farron's position trying to do what she can to ensure like the safety of like her people, but so trying to do what she can to get her sister back. And then we kind of have Farron who is trying to do what she can to like escape and get back to her sister. So part of the description for the second book reads, San Irie has been brought back to the brink of war as Aya proclaims no nation will be safe from his brutal invasion. But how can Alara save her sister, her best friend, her country, and her world when she's already cracking under the pressure? And like I said, this is a duology. It's called a Divine Traders duology. This is the last book for it. And it says, this heart-pounding conclusion to the Divine Trader duology pushes these unforgettable heroines to their breaking point and beyond, because when the lines between hero and villain are blurred, deadly sacrifices must be made. And I will say that Farron made a sacrifice in the first book, and I kind of feel like then it might be like Alara's turn to make a sacrifice in this second book. But the kind of way like Farron is written, it kind of seems like it's like family first to her and everything else comes after. So I feel like she might end up making another sacrifice. But also knowing that she was this kind of like childhood hero in the first war that happened before the first book, it kind of feels like she's always making these sacrifices. So I do want to see that this time around, she's the one who's being saved instead of being the one who's like being this hero and protecting the others. So we'll see how this all plays out, because I'm very interested. But yeah, it's, if you like dragons, magic, enemies to lovers, a little romance or like romantic tension. Both of the sisters have kind of like, something that you can follow in terms of romance. I won't say it's like, it's not like the biggest thing in the book, but it's there and I really like it. Magic, gods, like kind of like an avatar, stand-in for said gods, things like that. I think it's a really interesting read, and if you care about like sisters and family protecting each other in the midst of like a bigger conflict where it's kind of like, oh, maybe you should be thinking about like protecting the world instead, then I think this is a book that you're gonna like. With that said, it's come to a good time. Also, I put this on. Surprisingly, it is cold here because I think we're right by the window, so I was like freezing all night. So yeah, it's kind of warming down now, but I put this on. What am I doing? Yeah, I had my hot water. I had a little Jamaican bun thing. My mom has bought something similar before. It's basically like a sweet raisin type bun. I really enjoyed that. So I had that, but I'm gonna end up eating breakfast soon. It's about to hit 10 o'clock in a couple of minutes, so I think we will spend just a little time now reading The Midnight Library. I don't know if it's on this channel or it might be on the shared channel that I have with my twin sister, but about 2-3 years ago we went to the Strand, and I only went to the Strand looking for this book. First I just never been to the Strand before, but I only went to the Strand looking for this book, and I did find it, but I did decide in terms of like price and stuff, because this was when I was in college. I wasn't buying books full price like I was in high school when I like really needed to, for like summer readings and things like that. um so I decided, like, okay, I'm gonna put it off, and then I ended up finding this in the Free Little Library a while ago, and I was like, this is just like perfect timing, because I was thinking about this book, rethinking about going out to find it, not particularly at the Strand, just in general, and it came at the perfect time. So I thought it'd be the perfect time to read this book. So let's go ahead and read it. So I read for silence for about like 15 minutes, just a couple of pages, but I decided I'm gonna listen to a reading vlog, because I think it'd be nice to read alongside somebody. All right, a little update. Let me into the room. The darkness is honestly a vibe. The dark was a vibe. Anyways, so the back of the book expressed that Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. And since the beginning of the book, like almost every like chapter or section or whatever starts off with like, this was what Nora did X amount of times before she decided to die. So it starts off with like 19 years before she decided to die. Then we get a 19-year later little skip, 27 hours. Now we're up to 5 hours, 4 hours before she decided to die. And you're just kind of getting these tidbits of like what her life was like back then, what her life is currently like right now, and what's kind of going on in that moment, to, I guess, to portray this kind of bad to worse. I do want to see how she ends up at the Midnight Library. Oh, it says that at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to the Midnight Library. Okay, I thought she ended up at a library, and then from there she got transported to different books. This is where each book contains an alternate life, a possible world in which she made different choices. And we kind of see, especially in her interactions with other people, how her life ends up the way that it does end up. So I wonder, when then she gets transported to these books with different possibilities, you know, if she takes, you know, the other routes, because they talked about how she was like a good swimmer. She was going to end up in the Olympics. They talked about how you know, she was a musician at one point, how she was going to get married at one point. So, and they talked about the, you know, her not really wanting kids and stuff like that. So I guess like each of these books will show those possibilities. Like, what if she did end up getting married? What if she did end up having kids? Or what if this other possibility? What if she did continue and be in this band that could have been successful with her brother and their friend? All that type of stuff. What if this like horrible death didn't happen? So I'm interested to see what that looks like. Surprisingly, I did not know people didn't like this book. When I first went to go find it, I was just hearing praise about this book. And then now I'm hearing like mixed reviews. I'm seeing people give it 3 stars and under. And in the past, I was seeing people give it like 3.5 and above. And the way people were talking about it, I was very interested to see. So I do want to, I want to understand what the little divide is here. Also, let me see how long this book is. It's 288 pages, which is not bad, but it looks much thicker than it is. It could be because of the size, the shortness of the book size in terms of like length, why it looks thick, but it's only 288 pages. But currently I'm on page 20 right now. And then this is kind of like the font size of the book. It's not horrible. I'm reading it, I'm decently fast, but like I said, I'm only on page 20 and I've been reading for a little over 30 minutes now, so there's that. That's my update. I gotta do my chores today. So we'll switch back to the, I think that TV's so loud. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna switch back to listening to Soul, no, not Soul Timber. This ends in embers as I like go clean the kitchen. So do like one last chapter. The chapters are so short, they're like 2 or 3 pages long. But we just got to the part where she enters the library, or I guess the library like forms or appears around her. In like 40 something minutes, I didn't read as much as I thought I was going to, but I think that's okay. Time to clean, and I'm gonna listen to the audiobook as I do so.
Our flight from the Heston archipelago to the northernmost town in the Emerald Islands. By the time Lightbringer finally broke through the clouds, Baron's nerves were as steady as they would get, and she could appreciate the beauty that sprawled out below them. Manor pine and ash trees that clustered together like gossiping elders. They landed just outside the town line, marching past acres of flat farm we didn't understand. In a way, this was no different. If her mistake had made her a villain, she would perform 100,000 conciliatory acts until she could go home again. Jogging up from one of the side streets with her co-writer, Briar Noble, inches behind her, she scowled at Farron and then, with effort, dragged away her gaze. Baron was brimming with too much tentative excitement to scowl back.
Alright, so it is 12:01. That concludes our little morning reading vlog in our time together. I'm at 41%, chapter 17 of This Ends in Embers, or with Embers? I keep forgetting. But I'm on chapter 17, 41% through of the audiobook. We started at 20% or 21% at the beginning of this morning. So we did a lot of damage in the audiobook. And then for Midnight Library, we ended off on page 29, and then there's no like chapter numbers, it's just like little headers. So that's where we are with the Midnight Library, and it's 288 pages of that book. So we did a little damage in there. I'm probably going to continue reading, or sometime today read again, because I'm very interested in both books. It depends on just the mood and stuff. But for now, this is where we're gonna end off this video. Thank you for spending my little morning with me. Thank you for reading alongside me if you did. And let me know your thoughts on these books if you have read them, specifically the Midnight Library, because I've now am seeing mixed reviews for that. Luckily no spoilers for that book, but they're just mixed vibes in terms of like how people feel. So let me know your thoughts on that if you come across and stumble across this video in my little corner of the internet here. But anyways, I'll see you guys in another video. I'm so happy that I am doing another reading vlog, and I'm hopefully, after editing all of, and they might have come out before this video, but after editing all of the non-reading related videos that I have filmed because I just wasn't reading, I'm hopefully able to get back to consistently making reading videos, because that's what the bulk and the main point of this channel was created for. So with that said, I'll see you guys another time. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.